Hi, MrArbitrage here. Good Friday afternoon to you. Nice market today, huh? Gotta like that. Did you happen to catch on CNBC Jim Cramer's insolent little diatribe against the Federal Reserve Chairman Bernanke today? It was pretty scary. I was feeling sorry for Aaron Burnett there, but he's crying about how the Fed essentially needs to bail us out of this mess with the mortgages. Oh, I know he doesn't want. Oh, he's not asking for a rate cut. He just wants the Fed to come in and jawbone a little bit, kind of like Kudlow. They want some jawboning, so the Fed will show that they're willing to cut rates. He wants a rate cut. That's really what it's going to take. But sadly enough, no amount of jawboning, no amount of monetary policy is going to fix the real problem. And I think Jim Cramer unwittingly unveiled that problem in his show just a few nights ago. Yeah, let's talk. Let's have a heart to heart. Now Cramer is being a little bit duplicitous. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's throwing a hissy fit about how the Federal Reserve has this obligation to bail us out of this problem. Yet just a few days ago on his show, he's telling people to bail out of their houses. If their rates went up, in the most cavalier manner, just walk away. Keep the car, keep the credit cards, become a renter. He's actually he was actually encouraging people to do that, like it would be the best thing that they could do. Don't even make an effort. Don't think about getting a second job or making any kind of effort whatsoever to honor your obligation to which you committed yourself. So, on one hand, he wants the Federal Reserve to bail us out, and on the other hand, he's just fomenting the flames by telling people to walk away. Let's compound the problem. Sounds great. Thank you, Jim. Making a lot of sense. By the way, while I'm at it, Jim, we know you're 62. We know you've got big biceps. Now, please, accolades. Will you roll up the freaking sleeves now? Listen, Cramer, no amount of jawboning or monetary policy is going to get us out of this mess. What the real problem here is one of integrity. When you're encouraging people, if what you encourage people to do on your show typifies the American people's philosophy, then we are headed into a depression, the likes of which you or no one in this country has ever seen. Now, nobody predicts a depression. Of course, we have to go into a recession first. We have to have several quarters of recession before it becomes a depression. But if people are that cavalier and that dishonorable to just walk away and think that they're doing a great thing by sticking the banks and, as you put it, the suckers with holding the bag because they were stupid enough to lend them money, we've got a serious problem. And maybe we deserve what we get. Maybe we've become so narcissistic that we will actually benefit from a depression, that we will actually benefit from what's to come. CNBC has this show, American Greed. Well, they ought to do a show on American greed about the people, the millions of people in this country who went out and got caught up in this speculative bubble, taking out loans on houses with teaser rates, knowing damn well that they wouldn't be able to repay them, but they were so greedy, they were gambling their financial future, they got so caught up in the greed, knowing they wouldn't be able to pay these things back, and I've heard the people saying it themselves a couple years ago. Oh, I'll just be selling the thing at a profit before that rate ever kicks in. That was the mentality. We have a bunch of irresponsible people gambling with their financial future, and now you want the Federal Reserve to bail them out. You want the federal government to bail them out. I'm sorry. There's a time where you have to pay the piper, and it's nobody's responsibility but their own. If Congress does anything, I think that they should move to make sure that people don't get to stick people with the bag. The people don't get to stick these companies with the bag. Do they bring? I'm not saying they bring back debtor's prison, but maybe they should make a law that people have to make good on their payments. Maybe they have to restructure it. There are different types of bankruptcies. They need to eliminate the kind where people just wipe their slates free of all their debt. So everybody's going to be watching Bernanke on Tuesday to see what he says. Maybe he should just come out and say that the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. Now, if you believe that one, I've got some Bear Stearns stock to sell you. Let me tell you something. This isn't just about fear. The thing that holds up this economy is not perception. It's not psychology. The only thing that's going to stop this mess is integrity. The thing that holds up our economy, the pillar that holds up our economy, is the integrity of the American people, the morality, the sense of honor that they're willing to make good on their debts. And if people are following the advice of Jim Cramer to just walk away from their obligations as if should be no stigma to that, we've got a lot of problem. That will trickle through. That will not just trickle through our economy. It will collapse like a house of cards at one point. We don't know when, but it will collapse like a house of cards. Freedom requires responsibility. And if people can't take responsibility, they won't have freedom and they will not have capitalism. Government will have to step in and force them to pay back their debts one way or another, or this economy will collapse. At least back in the Great Depression, people had integrity. They had that going for them. And that's why I say we've got some serious problems. Because in today's narcissistic society, we don't have the kind of strength, the fortitude, the moral and ethical backbone that they had during the Great Depression. You don't see the people. Remember the movie? I was thinking about the movie Cinderella Man. Great movie with Russell Crowe and Renee Zellweger. Remember Jimmy Braddock in the Great Depression and how hard he worked to get his family fed, to make sure that his kids stayed with him, to honor his obligations? You remember when he finally broke down and went into the welfare lines? How hard that was for him to take the government handout. That was his last resort. But then the ultimate move of character came in the end when here's the spoiler, when he went back to that welfare office after he made good and became world champion. He went back to that welfare office and paid back every penny that the government gave him. That's the kind of integrity that we need today, that we are severely lacking. I've been seeing these commercials. We've been bombarded also with these commercials by Ditech telling us that it's time to refinance our mortgages now. And they're telling us that people are smart. They're bombarding us with the notion that people are smart. Well, maybe so, but they sure are irresponsible. That part they didn't tell you. People might be a little too smart for their own good. I'm Mr. Arbitrage. Have a great weekend.